Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We're live from Los Angeles, and this is your host, Young Brando. We're going to talk about watches. We're going to explore some upcoming auctions. On that note, I just have a poll going on the YouTube platform. So I would really appreciate if you would vote on which auction that I should start with first. That is going to be decisive. As you guys know, I like warming up with exploring in depth some of the content that I posted on Instagram over the last few days. So we'll go back to that. Um, but before that, I want to thank you and thank those of you, especially who came to my first exclusive event in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills, just a few days back, just this Thursday. It was a great event, a night of cocktails and watch talk at the MBNF Lab in Beverly Hills. Uh, we had a lot of fun. I spoke for a little bit, which I think was a great success, if I may say so myself. But those of you who may be in the chat now and who may have been in attendance can, of course, always affirm that or happily contradict me. I would have no problem with that. Um, I'll start with, let's say, I think actually the most recent thing I posted. This has barely gone out an hour ago. It's an event to cap off the London Fashion Week, organized actually in collaboration with the British Vogue and Audemars Piguet, and the Liverpool skipper, the Liverpool captain, and the Netherlands national football team captain, Virgil van Dijk, um, who you might know is a very important collector of AP, attended the event with his wife. And he was wearing one of these 150th anniversary perpetual calendars. And I think this piece is special for a number of reasons. One, of course, it serves as a commemorative piece for the 150th anniversary, a limited edition of 150 pieces. So there's the aspect of rarity and exclusivity, which is all fine and dandy. But I think the aesthetics is much more important. And there's also, of course, the technical detail or tidbit that actually makes it even more special, because this is actually uh, the last AP perpetual calendar to feature the perpetual calendar movement that was built on the base of the legacy JLC 920 movement. You would remember that the John Mayer edition bid farewell to the caliber 5134. This limited edition for the 150th anniversary actually sends off the caliber 5135, which is basically the modern open work interpretation of that previous movement. The other important detail is the neo-vintage aesthetic of this piece. Um, I think, you would, if you ever looked at the curation of Watch Brothers London, you might think that this is a piece, this is a rare Royal Oak that they are perhaps, they have recently sold or they have in stock. And that's not a coincidence, right? Because this was a piece that was actually based, at least on as far as the dial configuration goes, on a very special limited edition pocket watch from 1992, which was, of course, the 20th anniversary of the original Jarajanta design. That was a pocket watch. Of course, this is a wristwatch. There was also an earlier perpetual calendar wristwatch, perpetual calendar Royal Oak wristwatch that was rendered in platinum that has a similar aesthetic insofar as it features also a skeletonized dial with predominantly blue accents. However, the inspiration of that pocket watch is much more prominent, I think, on the face of this particular piece. Of course, like a lot of the 150th anniversary models, this piece features the brand signature in cursive. But this is kind of the granddaddy of all because it is actually limited to 150 pieces, whereas a lot of other anniversary editions simply feature this special signature on the dial for the 150 first examples produced. In this case, also, I think it is more cohesive with the overall aesthetic of the piece because precisely this looks more like a neo-vintage piece rather than something that just came out. It is still a little bit quirky, and I think that really underlines the untimely appeal of the 26585 XT. And if you would say, what would XT be, since those two letters usually indicate the case and bracelet material when it comes to Audemars Piguet, this particular piece is a juxtaposition of titanium and BMG, bulk metallic glass, with the titanium representing the bulk, no pun intended, of the material, with the mirror polished bulk metallic glass octagonal bezel, as well as the tapering interlinks of the bracelet. And I think it is an approach to the tone-on-tone aesthetic executed in a way that only AP knows how. And it really intensifies this intimate interplay between mirror polished and grain brush surfaces that really is the calling card of an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. And in this case, the eye-catching gleam of the BMG against the backdrop of the satin austerity of titanium. And thanks to Horology Ancienne, I was able to feature a number of detailed shots of the watch, wonderful close-ups that detail the finishing nuances of the piece, as well as two videos at the end. So if you click the link that I shared in the chat, you will be able to access this post, look at it in detail, and please do hit the like, share a comment, tell me what you think. If you want to answer the question that is at the end of the caption, by all means. And if you want to share it with others, whether it's in your story or simply as sending out the link, please feel free to do so. All of that helps me a great deal in expanding this platform at large and Instagram in particular. So thank you again in advance. This was what Virgil van Dijk wore earlier tonight in London. It is the 150th anniversary open work perpetual calendar from Audemars Piguet. Going all the way back, this time to New York Fashion Week, when Usher, the king of R&B, introduced. Oh, Ryan, thank you so much. When Usher, the king of R&B, introduced a new fragrance with Ralph Lauren. Uh, this is Usher and his wife Jennifer Goicoechea at Ralph's Club, which was pop up for that exclusive event, which Usher himself hosted, and he was wearing a Patek Philippe perpetual calendar, the reference 5146J in 18 karat yellow gold, J as in jaune, which is the word for yellow in French. And this is also a beautiful neo-vintage piece that improved upon the first reference for what was, at the time of the release, Patek Philippe's proprietary complication, the annual calendar. 5146 came out in 2005, and it featured a power reserve indicator plus minus at 12 o'clock and made a standard fixture, the moon phase indicator, for all Patek Philippe perpetual calendars. A throwback to the Emmys. Again, feel free to comment and hit the like for each and every one of these posts. This is a party that Warner Brothers Television Group threw for their Emmy nominees, and Brett Paul is the president of that organization, as well as the chief operating officer for the Warner Brothers Discovery US networks. And he was wearing perhaps something predictable, but quite effective. He wore it for this pre-Emmy party, and also at the Emmys itself. It was the 126 500 LN, the new generation of the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona in stainless steel with the black dial. Of course, this is from the renewed, revitalized, re-energized line that was presented on the 60th anniversary of the model in 2023. And what I really like about it is how it represents a great distillation of some 6 decades of the model's history. For example, the more slender index marks for the hours evokes the first generation of the self-winding Daytona, the 5-digit, the so-called Zenith Daytona, whereas the refined bezel design with the bezel ring in matching metal, in which the Cerachrome tachymeter bezel is then set, harkens back to early hand-wound pieces with their bakelite bezel inserts. Again, please don't forget to hit the like button on the stream and vote in the poll so I know where to start. I know Ryan already voted, at least in Word, saying that he wants me to start with Sotheby's Paris. So if you want me to start with something else, please vote. And while you're at it, hit the like button for the stream. This is Marlon Wayans, of course, from the Wayans brothers. I really appreciate his maturation as an actor. I really didn't like the style of comedy that Wayans brothers represented, maybe with the exception of of White Chicks, which was, I think, a very special movie to begin with. But that being said, he is actually starring in this new movie that just came out called Him, which I didn't yet see, but I look forward to seeing, because again, I think um, he came a long way, if I'm in a position to say that. Um, he gave an interview to Hypebeast in advance of that release, and he was wearing the new Piaget Polo 79, or rather the revival Piaget Polo, which is their luxury chic integrated bracelet watch, a very special design, and they couldn't miss the opportunity to bring it back in a year that was 2024, which marked the brand's own 150th anniversary and 45 years of the Piaget Polo as well. I like the design. I'm a big fan. I understand that they didn't necessarily want to keep the quartz movement, right? Because today's definition of a luxury watch, the definition of a luxury watch in year 2025, more or less guarantees the existence of a mechanical and more specifically an automatic movement. But Piaget, a brand that has held the record of having the thinnest self-winding watch more than once, I think certainly has the R&D, certainly has the technology on their side, whether it is thanks to a micro rotor that they were using here or a peripheral rotor, to power this piece with a movement that would allow it to be as sleek, as slim, as ultra thin as this piece was earlier. So that's a significant drawback, if you ask me, beyond, of course, the delusional price point of the Piaget Polo upon its release. The white gold version that came later, that came out this year, is even more expensive. I don't know. I think it's really thoughtless at some level, because the only way they could price those pieces when the vintage Piaget Polos trade for literally a fraction of it could be because they looked at Vacheron, they saw how successful the 222 was, and they thought, hey, if we re-release, if we bring back our integrated golden bracelet watch, we should be able to sell it at the same price point as our sister brand. But that's really not how things work. And that particular piece is more of an exception for Vacheron Constantin than the rule anyways, especially today. So I wonder, I want to say I wonder what was on their mind, but really it was mostly thoughtlessness that brought out this particular piece without really thinking carefully about its market placement and really about what they wish to replicate from the essence of the original Piaget Polo beyond how it looked from full frontal view, right? It was how it wore on the wrist. And if you can't replicate that feeling, you'll have a hard time convincing diehards. And at that price point, certainly you are not really recruiting any new converts en masse either. I had two land dwellers that I featured recently. One was a Land Dweller 36 in pink gold, by worn by none other than Jules Koundé. As someone who really doesn't like Barcelona, it is a great sacrifice for me to feature him so often on my feed. But that being said, the guy has good style and a great taste in watches and a very diverse collection to boot. So it's actually a genuine pleasure to see what is on his wrist and think a little bit more about it. And I think that thoughtfulness also is already in evidence here, because anyone else would have just gone and picked up the Land Dweller 40 just because, right? Because that's the standard case size and whatever else. But clearly, he thought that this particular size in this metal fit his aesthetic a lot better than the rest of what he could choose. I'm actually surprised that he didn't dish out a little more and got the one with the baguette diamonds on the bezel. But hey, you can't always get what you want. I don't exactly know what was going through his mind, but this is what he wore on a trip to Valencia when they were facing Levante a few weeks back in the La Liga. He was wearing the reference 127, 325, which is the Land Dweller 36 in 18 karat pink gold. And just yesterday, Roger Federer was walking out for a coin toss for his Laver Cup, which took place this year in San Francisco. And he had Steph Curry accompanying him, which was, of course, appropriate since he is the local hero of Golden State Warriors, 4 times NBA champ, with the 20-time Grand Slam champ. And he was wearing the stainless steel Land Dweller 40, which he, of course, actually leaked on Instagram, if you remember, before its official release, before Rolex's official announcement. Another thing you may have followed, and please hit the like button while you're at it, and while you're voting at the poll, which will decide for me what auction that I will feature first. Phillips IWC, Phillips in Hong Kong, Sotheby's in Paris, or in Eichen, Zurich. So just make your choice. I think there's a tie right now, so anything you choose would tip things one way or another. Meta just introduced their new AI glasses that they released in collaboration with Ray-Ban, and Adam Mosseri, who is the head of Instagram and a great watch collector, actually took a pair of those glasses out for a spin, and he was wearing his Patek Philippe Aquanaut in 18 karat yellow gold that I featured previously, and it is the reference 5065J. It is, in fact, the first Aquanaut Jumbo that was introduced in 1998, 38 millimeters in diameter, which I believe is the sweet spot for the Aquanaut, with today's Jumbo perhaps being a little too large, a smidgen too big for my taste, but that's just me. This reference, 5065, was also the first one to feature a sapphire case back to exhibit the self-winding caliber 315 SC, which of course bore at the time the hallmark of Geneva as well. The piece is, of course, usually presented on a tropical style rubber strap. And this particular example that I used for the reference photo is actually one currently offered for sale at Wind Vintage. Beautiful, unpolished, full set example that is actually paired with the ever so desirable khaki green rubber strap. So grab it while you still have the chance, and let them know if you are doing so that I sent you. This was a surprise discovery for me because you guys know, even though I have been making a concerted effort to feature more women's watches, more feminine pieces, uh, it's still not every day that I feature a woman wearing a woman's watch. If I feature a woman, it is usually a woman wearing a watch that man would like to claim and do so exclusively. So it's great when I catch Lisa actually slipping and wearing a watch by another brand when she is a global brand ambassador for Bulgari. Lisa of Blackpink, of course, who has recently also caused some waves, stirred some waves with her role in the White Lotus, was in Tokyo earlier this month, and she was wearing a Cartier La Donia in 18 karat yellow gold with its bezel set with brilliant cut diamonds. Cartier introduced this collection in 2006 to honor the legacy of the late Mexican actor and singer Maria Felix, who was known as La Doña after her character in 1943's Doña Barbara. La Doña was a long-standing customer of the Maison with a number of bespoke commissions to her name, which famously included 2 elaborate necklaces, one shaped after a snake and another after 2 crocodiles that come together and can also be worn separately as brooches too. And the trapezoid shape of the case actually interpolates a serpentine head. The crocodile's head too. I guess that's the usual point of reference, even though the snake's head in an abstract fashion also kind of looks in the same asymmetric way. These pieces also came with matching bracelets as well, at least for some of the time. As you can see, Lisa's is paired with a shiny alligator strap, but at times they came with bracelets that have those articulating half moon shaped polished interlinks, links rather, which recall the scales of the reptile. So that kind of underlines the reptilian connection between those elaborate necklaces that Maria Felix bespoke to Cartier and the watch that Cartier released in her honor after her passing. This particular piece is currently discontinued. The entire collection, rather, is currently discontinued. But who knows? Maybe they should just get Lisa on board and bring it back on her wrist. I'm sure it would be a great hit. All right. So far, so good. We do have a very humble goal in terms of super chats as well. So let me know what you prefer. If you would like me to stay longer, that will only necessitate 5 super chats of $5 or more. That's a challenge. That's a goal which ends in less than 20 minutes now. And I am actually taking off the poll since we have a decisive result with 56% Phillips Hong Kong, which is a lot which is an auction of 135 lots. So I will cheat just a little bit because the IWC focused auction is actually based in Hong Kong as well, and that's only 12 lots. So I'm sending that link in the chat. If you have any watch-related questions, or if you want to direct my attention to any particular one of these lots, please feel free to let me know, and I will be more than happy to jump right there and shift gears and discuss that watch with as much historical detail as possible. I think there are a few very unique pieces, not to be confused with pièce unique, that I would like to start with. Lot number one is basically a combat diver. Of course, we know the IWC Porsche design collaboration mostly, or one can say primarily, because of the Chronograph 1, but actually that collaboration gave birth to many interesting watches which are collectible in their own regard. And this combat diver that IWC in collaboration with Porsche Design made for the Bundeswehr actually was quite important as well. This is an integrated bracelet piece, all in titanium, with a rotational bezel that is rendered in PVD coating, which of course gives the watch an even more tactical look. The lineage of these pieces go to the late 1970s when the Bundeswehr commissioned IWC for a piece that their combat swimmers, their mine clearance units, and their frogmen at large could wear with the particular specification of being anti-magnetic and lightweight. So this piece ticks off both of these boxes. And this is an example that bears the reference number 3529, water resistant to 300 meters, specifically here. IWC, obviously, as the dial testifies to it, collaborated with Porsche Design on these series of watches. This particular example at lot 1 is practically accompanied by its original accessories, all of its original accessories, by a blank IWC guarantee, instruction manual, product literature, fitted presentation box, and outer packaging. and a further IWC certificate of authenticity that confirms the production of the watch on April 29th, 1996. The Bund engraving and number in the back. There we go. This piece comes from the IWC Back to the 80s auction, lot number 1 for an Ocean Bund combat diver, reference 3529. And the piece is currently being bid for 110,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is in the range of 14,160 in US dollars. The lots will begin to close on September 24th at 2 p.m. local time. Lot 4 is a version of the IWC Porsche Design Chronograph, or Porsche Design Chronograph 1, made by IWC, rendered in titanium. Of course, it has that distinctive round case or tonneau case, really integrated bracelet look. This is lot 4, Porsche Design Titan Chronograph 1. These were revealed in 1980. And first deliveries took place apparently in April 1981. Of course, it is of historical importance too, since it is one of the first self-winding chronographs to be entirely crafted in titanium case and bracelet, powered by the classic caliber 790, which has the day dates in addition to the classic 6912 3-register chronograph layout. The white subdials with red chronograph seconds hand against the backdrop of a matte black dial with a tachymeter register on the rejo, evokes a classic dashboard look. Of course, that's not a coincidence, since the designer was none other than Ferdi Porsche himself, who, of course, also designed the 911. And this particularly is, again, the Porsche Design Chronograph 1 in titanium, reference 3704. And it comes with a certificate of authenticity issued by IWC that confirms the production of the piece on April the 6th, 1982. Lot number 4 from the IWC back to the 80s auction is currently being bid at 22,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is just north of 2,800 in US dollars. Please hit the like button. I really appreciate you. That's an easy and absolutely free way of showing your support. So I really, really appreciate you. By the way, that lot 1 was not the only version of that combat diver that IWC produced for the Bundeswehr in collaboration with Porsche Design. Here's a version that actually has 2,000 meters of depth rating. Lot 2 is a reference 3524 for a Porsche Design Ocean 2000. This particular version was first introduced in the guise of reference 3500 at the 1983 Basel Fair. And in this case, the titanium piece is paired with a Velcro strap. And lot 2 is furthermore accompanied with a certificate of authenticity that is issued by IWC and that confirms the date of manufacture for this watch as July 19th, 1983. These are very cool pieces and still, I think, very much underrated. Lot 2 is currently being bid at 32,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is just about 4,120 in US dollars. Again, this is Phillips. This is a whole dozen of IWC watches from the time period. So it will probably attract a certain kind of buyer. And the condition, the presentation, the authentication, so to speak, of these pieces might incur a tiny bit of a premium So I'm sure when you look for these pieces, these references on the secondary market, you can even find better deals. Again, for this auction, the lots will begin to close just in a couple of days, specifically on September 24th at 2 local time. Pardon me. There is another 2 references of the Ocean 2000, a 3504, which is being bid at 30,000 Hong Kong dollars. At lot 11, north of 3,800 in US, and lot 10, which is a reference 3524, just like the one we looked at. That was, however, on a Velcro band. These last 2 are full titanium, including the bracelets, and this particular piece at lot number 10 is being bid at 35,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is just north of 4,500 in US. Hey, Brody. It's nice to see you on Thursday. There's a lesser known example of the Porsche design chronograph, again, made in collaboration with IWC. This is the reference 3701, the Porsche design chronograph 2. The piece is actually made in aluminum, and as you can see, the case design, especially in the way of the pushers, is rather different from the classic chronograph 1. The piece was crafted from a special light metal alloy with a hard anodized surface, and it is paired with a bracelet that is blackened. Is quite well preserved and has that two-tone look as a result. Comes with the certificate of authenticity, which confirms the sale of the watch as May 8th, 1984. This is lot 5 for a Porsche design chronograph 2, reference 3701, for an aluminum design piece. Lot number 5 being bid at 16,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is a little more than 2,050 right about now. There are a few more unique pieces that I will take a look at before we switch to the auction proper for Phillips Hong Kong. The classic compass watch at lot number 7. This is the IWC reference 3510. IWC Porsche design compass watch, first released in 1978. It belongs to an era before the GPS, of course. This is the matte black version. There was also an olive green finish. The black version is a little more common, olive green quite rare, I have to say. Without going into excruciating detail, of course, you would understand that putting a compass that relies on a magnetized needle in close proximity of a mechanical watch, a mechanical movement, poses certain risks. So the execution of this watch is actually a technical feat in and of itself. Here it is, posed on its certificate of authenticity, which dates the watch back to February 28th, 1979. Black PVD coated aluminum piece. That's quite well preserved, even though it does feature certain parts that are exposed, which is part and parcel, part of course, I should say, even for PVD coated pieces from this period. Here's the compass that opens up once you prop open the case by flipping it back, as you can get perhaps a better idea right here. This is the famous IWC Porsche design compass watch, the reference 3510, black PVD coated in aluminum. With a hinged case that opens onto a classic compass and a mirror inside which can serve as an emergency beacon as well. Lot number 7 is currently being bid at 32,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is just about 4,120 in US dollars. There's the Porsche design titanium chronograph number 3. So chronograph number 3, as you can see, features yet another design update. And this time it doesn't have a day date or the classic 6912 configuration, but it has additionally a moon phase indicator placed at 12 o'clock and a date window at 4:30. This particular example features a blue dial with the tachymeter scale on the periphery of that dial rendered perhaps in a darker, more matte color, whereas the center has sun ray effect. The watch is powered by a JLC caliber 630, which is a hybrid mecha quartz movement, quartz power for timekeeping, and a mechanical chronograph function, fully executed in titanium, with a smaller case compared to the chronograph 1 or 2 for that matter, 36 millimeters in diameter. Integrated bracelet look, mecha quartz movement, blue dial, fully crafted in titanium. Lot number 6 is the IWC Porsche design chronograph 3, reference 3742. Currently being bid at $14,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is just north of 1,800 in US dollars. The dial, by the way, itself is a lighter matte blue. The radial grooves distinguish the 3 chronograph registers, and then there's a darker matte blue tachymeter scale that frames the dial with the moon phase indicator at 12 o'clock. That was lot 6 for the Porsche design titanium chronograph 3, IWC reference 3742. The last watch we're going to look at from this batch is lot number 8 for an IWC Porsche design travel watch with a world timer aesthetic, so to speak. Again, that integrated design with a round case and matching bracelets, fully executed in titanium. The Reiseuhr, the travel watch in German, is presented or encased rather in a 40 millimeter diameter titanium case, powered by a quartz movement, an engraved bezel that allows you to track at once the time in 24 different world time zones. You have, of course, the classic 24-hour ring that surrounds and frames the dial between the city's ring and the center dial. It's a bicolor ring to quickly distinguish between night hours with the navy and the morning hours with the silver gray. And there's, in fact, an additional skeletonized hour hand with a orange tip that allows you to track the time in a reference time zone, or to track home time, you can also say. This is lot number 8 from the IWC Back to the 80s auction, the reference 3822, in collaboration with Porsche Design. The piece is currently being bid at 16,000 in Hong Kong dollars. That is roughly 2,060 in US dollars. These are the pieces that I wanted to highlight from this 12 lot auction that is going to close on September 24th at 2 p.m. local time. Let's transition quickly to the Hong Kong auction proper. I'll share the link right here. Please hit the like button. I really appreciate your support. We have been exploring some watch news and looking at the Phillips Hong Kong auctions in depth. If you want to ask me questions, specific questions about any of the watches presented in this auction, and I've just shared the link in the chat, feel free to send in a super chat with the lot number, and I would be more than happy to jump right in and discuss that watch with as much horological and historical detail as possible. We didn't reach the goal, but I converted as I do to a single super chat of $20 or more for the next hour. If someone feels so generous, we will keep this going until midnight. Otherwise, I will discuss as many watches as I can over the next hour or so, and we will close at 11. So here we go. Lot number one, roughly, I mean, it's 8001, is the classic Submariner Hulk. This is the now discontinued 40 millimeter Submariner reference with the green Cerachrome bezel, pardon me, and the sunburst green dial, the 116610 LV, lunette verte, which refers to the green bezel, in fact. I don't think this watch needs much of an introduction. And at lot 8001, it is currently being bid at 95,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is roughly 12,230 in US dollars. At lot 8003, there's a new Land Dweller 36 in stainless steel. This is the reference 127234. It's the new Rolex novelty from the Watches and Wonders in stainless steel and in the reduced case size, the flat Jubilee integrated bracelet, the fluted classic Rolex bezel in 18 karat white gold, and the honeycomb motif dial for the Land Dweller. Lot 8003, the piece is being bid at 180,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is a little more than 23,170 in US dollars. At lot 8007, there's a Patek Philippe Nautilus 5711 Line 1R. This is the previous generation, the now discontinued generation of the Nautilus Jumbo in 18 karat pink gold, entirely crafted in pink gold case and bracelet, with that bronze, kind of brown bronze dial with a sunray finish. This comes with the full set of its accessories from its original owner. And lot 8007 is currently being bid at 1 million Hong Kong dollars, which is already more than 128,740 in US dollars. Hey, Patek Chris, Julius Caesar. $8,008 is the classic Aquanaut travel time in pink gold, perhaps one of the most popular complications in the sports watch genre in Patek's catalog. Of course, as Patek does, it pairs the pink gold case with a brown, maybe in this case more of a chocolate brown type of dial, with the collection's distinctive globescape pattern. Of course, one of the attractive things about the Aquanaut collection, most of the collection at least the men's pieces in this collection, is the quasi-integrated look with the tropical style rubber bands sitting flush on the case and the lugs, and also bearing a pattern that's quite similar, that mimes the pattern on the dial of the watch. And of course, this is travel time, which means that there's an additional hour hand skeletonized that helps you keep track of a reference time zone, a pointer dates at 6 o'clock, and 2 windows that serve as day-night indicators for both home and reference time on one hand. That's around 3 o'clock, and the local time on the other hand, and that is at 9 o'clock, roughly speaking. This piece at 8008, lot 8008, is being bid at 600,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is almost 77,250 in US dollars. Please don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. 8009 is the leather strap version of the Nautilus Moon Phase in 18 karat pink gold. These pieces, since they are mostly frowned upon by the market, relatively speaking, can thus present relative bargains compared to integrated bracelet models. We're looking at the 5712R-001. This is the famous version of the Nautilus with the asymmetric dial that includes an offset subdial for small seconds, a moon phase indicator surrounded by pointer date, and a power reserve indicator. And again, this particular reference is paired with a leather strap rather than a bracelet. Oh, Patek Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. $8.99 in New Zealand dollars. That is really helpful. He says, YB, I want to buy a second Aquanaut for a significant birthday next year. Any suggestions? My one Aquanaut is the 5168G in blue. That is, of course, let's quickly finish this. This was 8009, lot 8009, currently being bid at 500,000 in Hong Kong dollars, and that is 64,370 in US dollars. In this case, by the way, the lots begin to close at around 3 p.m. local time on September 24th. So keep that in mind. Do they have a 5168G in this auction? They don't, so we will go right here. Of course, this is the one that Patek Chris currently has in the collection. It's the extra jumbo, so to speak, the one with a white gold case, a diameter that scales right above 42 millimeters. Honestly, Patek Chris, I want to ask one more question before I make my pick. Do you like the size of this, or would you rather get something that's slightly smaller? I know you have a very good relationship with your authorized dealer, so I will limit my suggestions to the current selection because you can actually get it from retail, get it at retail, and in fact that helps your relationship. So I'm not gonna send you the way of a 38 millimeter vintage example. That's all I'm saying. So don't fret. But I want to see whether 42 is just right for you, or whether you would actually do with something that is closer to 40. Because I have an option for either one when it comes to that. Well, let me just, in that case, just continue as you answer. What I'm going to say is, if you want to remain in the same size and a different complication, or rather a watch with complication, I would go with the chronograph. So you will have similar dimensions, of course, a thicker piece, with the added complication. Honestly, I would go with the steel in this case because I feel it makes for a better daily wear. Call me Captain Obvious, but it is what it is. Um, Honestly, I think it looks great on the classic tropical rubber strap with the orange accents. It looks alarmingly sporty uh, paired with the orange strap, and it comes with both. If the stainless steel seems too boring, since you already have a white metal Aquanaut and you want to remain at that larger case diameter, obviously I would go with the chronograph in pink gold. And that gives you a little bit more variety visually beyond simple accents. Um, Maybe pink gold is not your thing. Maybe you don't want to have another gold Aquanaut. In that case, the stainless steel will serve you well. Maybe you want something as visually distinct as possible, in which case 5968R is your thing. If you want something smaller, I would go for the travel time. And since they have discontinued um, the stainless steel version, and as different shade of a blue as it might be, since the white gold version would clash a little bit with what you already have, in this case, you will have to go with the 5164R, which is again a great watch. Um, it will be smaller in diameter than what you have. So there's a little bit of a difference there too. Different case material, a complication that's actually really useful and therefore quite popular as well. Yeah, I think I wouldn't get the 5168 green. I mean, yes, it's a different color um, and a different feel for that, but it's another time and date only white gold Aquanaut. Um, yeah, you are basically thinking about the same um, look. I mean, if the orange strap is too loud, you don't even have to wear it because it comes with both. Orange is not standard issue or anything. The 5968A comes with either one, with the other one thrown in to the box just as an alternative. So you can have it on the classic rubber strap, and if you want, I'm sure you can talk to your AD and pick another color they have that fits the case instead of having the orange as an alternative. Or maybe I'm sure for a client like you, they would be happy to throw in an extra color, in fact, as a third option. So just choose another one that would still pair well with the watch in your eyes. That can be brown. That can be. They don't have the khaki green anymore, as far as I know. Um, it can be red, I think, if that fits you a little better. Still something quite distinctive, but maybe not as you know out there as the orange. I mean, there's a reason, right, where life vests are in that orange color, right? So that I understand how it can be too much, but I think this is it. Considering what you already have, which is the 5168G in blue, you get the everyday wearability of stainless steel. You get the usefulness of the chronograph complication. At any rate, it's really the best layout for an automatic modern chronograph, just a single register. So if you don't want to use it, you don't use it. Just let it run with the centrally deployed chronograph hand as your usual second hand. It's just a fancier looking time only watch, essentially, if you're not going to use it. Relatively more compact in terms of the case diameter, slightly more thick in terms of the thickness, if I'm not mistaken, because 5168 is 8.25, 5968 is almost 12. So it's going to be thicker, but smaller in diameter. So essentially, I think it will wear more or less the same on your wrist in terms of how it feels as you are getting through the day. Probably you feel a little more substance, a little closer to your wrist with the white gold than this. But it's not like it's a very top-heavy watch that will drag your arm down during the day. All right, so that was our little digression sponsored by Patek Chris. So thank you so much. We're back at our look, back to our look at the Phillips Hong Kong auction. We went through the... Thank you. I appreciate you too, Patek Chris. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to support the stream in other ways, YouTube, of course, already gives you a few options. If you prefer yet other ways, those are described in the video description. Those are outlined in the video description, so feel free to check that out. I'm here for another 40 minutes, so if you have any questions, feel free to send them in with the super chat. And again, if you want to draw my attention to any particular lot, you can send the lot number in with the super chat too. Whatever I'm discussing at the time, I will finish it quickly and give as much time as possible to your request. And again, there's a small goal. Since we didn't reach our previous goal, if there's a single super chat of $20, I'll be happy to continue until midnight rather than stopping at 11, rather than stopping in the next 40 minutes. And for that goal, we have 37 minutes left. So it will last exactly right around our scheduled time. Maybe we'll go 1 hour over if someone comes up with a super chat. If not, no worries. I'm grateful for your support. Just hit the like button, share the link with others, follow me on Instagram as well. I'm already grateful for your support. If you help me expand this community a little bit more, it's even better. Um, I'm trying to reach 25,000 on Instagram and 3,000 here on YouTube. So if you help me with any of that, that's just as rewarding, at least on the face of it. So I appreciate you. We're looking at the Phillips Hong Kong auction, lots 8014. One of my favorite independent makers, Romain Gauthier. The C by Romain Gauthier, the Continuum, as it was first called. This is the titanium edition paired with the bracelets. It is the watch that takes the principle of integration to its logical conclusion, meaning that it is executed in fully crafted in titanium case, bracelet, and movement. I think actually the dial too is a titanium dial as well. Yeah, absolutely. So it's quite cool. You know, the shape, the dial layouts, the bracelet design, even though it is not, otherworldly and completely divergent from everything else that is out there, it is a thing of its own. It has a very characterful and distinctive appearance on the wrist, thanks to all of these elements, including its proprietary movement, which is, of course, at the core of that dial layout, and the unique 2 o'clock placement of the crown. Here is the movement with its beautifully finished titanium bridges. Again, a proprietary hand-wound movement that has its own architecture. In the platinum versions of this watch, the movement is rendered in white gold, so the piece retains its aesthetic coherence. But I really like the fact that basically everything here is in titanium, which makes for a very lightweight integrated bracelet watch. I like the asymmetric and off-center layout of the dial, which again contributes to its signature aesthetic. It's like nothing else on the market, and I think therefore deserves special attention. This is lot 8014, the Romain Gauthier C titanium edition bracelets, brand new, unworn, with the full set of its accessories. The piece is currently being bid at 170,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is just south of 22,000 in US dollars. lot 8019, we have the classic contemporary, but now discontinued Patek Philippe Nautilus Jumbo in stainless steel. That is the reference 5711 line 1A with the black and blue dial, classic horizontally ribbed design. The 5711 was launched on the 30th anniversary of the design in 2006, which perhaps gives us an idea of what to expect next year from Patek Philippe, where we will have the 50th anniversary of the Nautilus, when we will have the 50th anniversary of the Nautilus. This particular piece comes from year 2007. The lot features the full set of its original accessories, that it comes from 2007, of course, makes it a modern classic, a contemporary relic of sorts, because it's a pre-2009 Patek, meaning still a Geneva seal movement. Lot 8019 for the discontinued 5711 line 1A stainless steel Patek Philippe Nautilus that is currently being bid at 550,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is just north of 7,800 in US dollars. Ryan Hoffrey, thank you so much, man. Everything counts. Thank you so much. $199. I appreciate you. $8020 is basically the ladies' Nautilus, meaning that it is not only a reduced size, modern example of the Patek Philippe Nautilus, but it also has kind of feminine details that distinguish it from its jumbo counterpart. Beyond its 35.2 millimeter diameter, it also features a different dial, a wave motif design, a different layout on that dial, even though the piece is powered by the same movement as the jumbo, as its jumbo counterpart. It has a single Arabic numeral at 12 o'clock and the date window at 3 o'clock, which actually gives it a very nice and balanced look. And the handset is unique to this reference 7118 line 1A, unique to the ladies' Nautilus, that is. Rounded alpha style, which are paired with, again, rounded indices for the hour markers as well. This is the ladies' Nautilus, reference 7118 line 1A in stainless steel at lot 8020, which is currently being bid at 280,000 in Hong Kong dollars. And that is, roughly speaking, 36,000 in US dollars. Let's look at some pieces that are less predictable, a little more off the beaten path. Lot 8033 is a classic Breguet chronograph. I like the earlier references of this Lemania-based chronograph, because this particular reference, it is the 5287BR, actually features a 42.5 millimeter case diameter, and with those extended straight lugs, that can be quite a lot, actually. But the dial is beautiful with its distinctive decorations, engine turned by hand, with each sector framed by a coin edge decoration on top of that. A tachymeter scale, which is detailed in red, matching the red accents of the subdials, as well as the centrally deployed chronograph seconds hand. And that hand guilloche dial fashioned out of a gold base in the silvered look serves as a beautiful backdrop for the classic Breguet hands that are heat blued in stainless steel. A 30-minute totalizer at 3 o'clock and a 30-second counter with this two-handed or two-pronged seconds hand that, of course, divides the minute into two 30-second sectors. Wow, Ryan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. You have forgotten more than most will learn. I appreciate you, man, and you know, may Hashem bless your daughter so she can be most successful in her studies. I love the classic Breguet case, of course, with its teardrop lugs and the entirely fluted case band. Very elegant design that Danny Roth used in the classic revival. And as I mentioned, this piece is built on the base of that classic Lemania that gave us anything from the original Moonwatch to the bass movements of some legendary Patek Philippe perpetual calendar chronographs. Here, it goes under the guise of caliber 533.3. It's beautifully finished and assembled. And it also has a swan neck regulator, which is quite special and appropriate to its Breguet interpretation. This is the 5287BR at lot 8033. The piece is currently being bid at 120,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is almost 15,500 in US dollars. Again, I want to bring your attention to something different. This is lots 80, 43. It is the Manta Ray. Patek Philippe reference 5100. It was introduced to greet the new millennium by Patek in year 2000. This particular example is in yellow gold. And this limited edition piece, one of 1,500 pieces, features a stylized rectangular case, alternating arrow-shaped indices with Arabic numerals for the hour markers, small seconds on a subdial at 6, and a power reserve indicator at 12, counterbalancing that, which actually gives you an idea of how remarkable the hand-wound movement of this reference 5100 is. 10 days power reserve. Look at that beautiful surface of the dial as well, off-white with this granular surface. Very nice detail and depth. This piece comes with a number of accessories, including the certificate of origin, attestation, meaning the chronometer certificate, the instruction manual, product literature, the leather folio to hold all these documents, the fitted presentation box, as well as the outer packaging. And lot 8043 is currently being bid at 160,000 in Hong Kong dollars. And that is almost 20,600 in US dollars. Look at this beautiful movement that is made to fit that case perfectly with its distinctive architecture, 10-day power reserve, bearing the hallmark of Geneva on this bridge, greeting the year 2000, a limited edition by Patek Philippe, made in yellow gold in 1,500 pieces. This is one of them. And it is currently being bid at around 20,600 in US dollars. $80.49. This is a piece that a friend of mine owns. So it's interesting to track it for me. It's the Patek Philippe Nautilus annual calendar in stainless steel, paired with a leather band. With the gray dial. And of course, Patek's classic proprietary complication, which has a date indicator at 6 o'clock, right under the signature, 2 wickets for the day of the week and the month, and a moon phase indicator on a subdial at 6 o'clock, surrounded by a 24-hour hand, which of course serves as a day-night indicator as well. We are in the last 20 minutes of the broadcast, so if you have any special requests or if you want to trigger that extra hour, here's your chance. We're looking at the Phillips Hong Kong auction that is currently taking place because it's mostly online. I posted the link in the chat, but I'll share it again. If you have any special requests, let me know before, so I can attend to your request before we close. This is the Patek Philippe annual calendar, Nautilus, in stainless steel on a leather strap, reference 5726A, currently being bid at 450,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is almost 58,000 in US dollars. The piece comes, I believe, with the full set of its original accessories at lot 8049. Lot 8051 is, you might say, a historically significant example in the evolution of the Royal Oak Offshore collection. Of course, nowadays, the offshore diver in the reference 15720 is a mainstay in that collection, but it is actually a relatively recent addition, you might say, to that collection. This is one of the early examples. AP actually made the first iteration of this watch, the so-called Royal Oak Offshore Scuba, to collaborate Vempe's anniversary. But they were so popular that they wanted to make a boutique exclusive series, in this case a limited edition of 300 pieces of this collection, a Royal Oak Offshore watch with a rotatable inner dive timing bezel, in this case with oversized Arabic numerals for hour markers and orange accents, which complete that scuba related nautical theme. There's a mega tapisserie chocolate bar kind of look at the center of the dial, and a beautiful radial groove that distinguishes the hour track. Of course, there's an inner magnifier for the date window at 3. And the watch is paired with a black rubber strap. This is lot number 8051 for the precursor of the Royal Oak Offshore Diver, the Offshore Scuba Boutique Edition, reference 15701 in stainless steel. The lot comes with its original warranty papers, the instruction manual, product literature, the hang tag, fitted presentation box, as well as the outer packaging. As you can see, it does have that medallion on the case back that inscribes it as a boutique special edition. The presentation box is pretty special too. And lot 8051 is currently being bid at 80,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is almost 10,300 in US dollars. At lot 8055, we have a classic Breguet Type 20. This is the civilian version. Powered by a Valjoux caliber, Valjoux 720 specifically for this 3-register version, with the additional flyback functionality, of course, which is a signature feature of this kind of pilot's chronograph. Of course, Breguet was one of the main suppliers of these pieces, of these mid-century chronographs, to the air forces of the French Navy, the Aéronaval. Stainless steel with oversized Arabic numerals, beautiful syringe hands, the big eye, 15-minute totalizer at 3 o'clock, and a rotatable 12-hour bezel. There is a 12-hour counter at 6 o'clock too, and of course a continuous running seconds at 9 o'clock. The centrally deployed seconds hand is also luminously inlaid and has a distinctive spear-like tip. Hey, de nada. We're looking at lot 8055, which is a lot that started without reserve, a civilian version of the classic Breguet Type 20. The piece, a pilot's watch chronograph with flyback function in stainless steel, is currently being bid at 45,000 in Hong Kong dollars, which is almost 5,800, 5,800 in US dollars. Remember, there's still a while to go. There's still some ways to go. The auction will only close on September 24th at 3 p.m. local time. This is a Hong Kong-based auction, even though it is an online auction. I have about 10 more minutes, unless something very special happens in the chat, unless you have any last-minute requests. which you can convey with a super chat. Any questions as well. If you want to show your appreciation, that's a great way too. Of course, you can always leave a comment after the live stream ends, ask a question that way as well. You can leave a super thanks that way. If you want to support the channel in a more steady way, of course, buying a channel membership or gifting channel memberships is a great way to do that. And it gives you access to an archive of exclusive content. But otherwise, clicking the like, sharing the link, leaving comments, following me on Instagram is great ways of supporting me. Sharing the link and spreading the word to other enthusiasts, other watch collectors is a great way to help me expand the community. We're getting closer to a critical mass. 25,000 is the goal on Instagram, 3,000 here on YouTube. So if you can help me with that, that's already a lot. I would appreciate it. Let's talk about 2 more watches and wrap it up for the night. Again, unless you have any special last-minute requests, let's look at lot 8044 coming from the original owner. This is a white gold example of the AP Cobra in a reduced size, the reference 14438BA. Of course, the distinctiveness of the Cobra is its Jarajanta design, which has this monoblock look, woven bracelet design that, of course, was reminiscent in its own way of the reptilian skin, hence the name. A champagne dial with 11 brilliant cut diamonds serving as the hour markers. It's a two-hander with the date at 3 o'clock. Again, of course, the classic full-size Cobra reference is the 5403, but this is a smaller version, which is rendered in yellow gold. Classic integrated bracelets, dress watch look. Very much the aesthetics of Jarajanta approached in a more niche way, I guess, with this design. The lot is accompanied by its original certificate of guarantee, as well as a digital extract from the AP archives that confirms the production of this particular piece on March 31st, 1993. This is lot 8, is AT44 for the AP Cobra reference 14438BA, currently being bid at 150,000 in Hong Kong dollars. That is slightly north of 19,309. The Cobras Jordan have exploded in terms of pricing. I don't like taking credit for these sorts of things, so I won't, because a lot of times when the market is affected, it's a convergence of so many different moving pieces and certainly a multiplicity of factors. But I have myself contributed to publicizing the appearance of the watch especially in that white gold blue dial form with the diamond dial that also has a double brilliant cut diamonds at 12 o'clock on the Shah of Iran's wrist on his last days. And that was part of this explosion where people really went after every single iteration and variation of the Cobra that they could find. To the extent that nowadays, a lot of the shadier gray market dealers and secondhand watch sellers try to brand every single integrated bracelet, AP dress watch, a Cobra from this time period, which is, just a very dishonest practice. But it just goes to show how much premium the Cobra started to carry just in the matter of the last 2-3 years. Before that, it was a fraction. It was a fraction of what they trade for these days, especially on a public auction. I mean, you can still probably find better deals on the secondary market elsewhere, but they have gotten expensive. All right, one more piece. Again, unless there's a last minute request that comes with a super chat, I'll go with something less predictable. Hopefully, I will return to this auction tomorrow. I will finish it off with I won't try to force it. I think I'll do two watches that I really like. Not entirely predictable, but not supremely unique either, at least for this channel. But I know there are a lot of people who just started watching these live streams coming from Instagram. And in that case, I appreciate you. If you have clicked the link and come to this live stream, please subscribe here. I am in dire need of more subscribers here, more than I am on Instagram in so many ways. You're looking at lot 8082, pardon me, from the Phillips watches online auction, the Hong Kong sessions. This is one of those classic 90s limited edition Jaeger-LeCoultre reverso tourbillons, number 246, from a limited run of 500 pieces in the pink gold Grand Taille case that measures 26 millimeters by 42. This is the 1993 model. 1991 was the proper 60th anniversary edition. The tourbillon was next in the series. And the piece is not only rendered in 18 carats pink gold itself, but its movement too is in pink gold. In this case, it's 14 carats. As you can see, it has a beautiful power reserve indicator with a guilloche decoration, form-fitted movement, the tourbillon cage with a nicely finished open-worked bridge that you can see through the sapphire case back. On the verso side of this reverso, the quirky placement of that tourbillon cage slightly interrupts, barges in to the godron, that frame, vertically frame the dial, and here the movement. On the face of it, the watch is very simple, two-hander with seconds on the subdial that simply says tourbillon on a plaque on the recto face, applied gold JL logo at 12, beautiful guilloche dial with two distinctive patterns on the dial, and a vertically brushed hour track. This is the reference 27268, the 1993 limited edition Reverso tourbillon at lot 882, being bid at 220,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is a little more than 28,300 in US dollars. Last but not least, again, probably a piece that you have heard being discussed on this channel. Since Patek style is usually associated with simple, conservative, round case designs, whenever you find complicated pieces that are presented in differently styled cases, like an officer case, or like in this case, a tonneau-shaped Cartier Tortue adjacent case, you can find a relative bargain. And 5040G is probably one of my favorite Patek Philippe perpetual calendars of the neo-vintage era. G is for gris, for gray gold, or more commonly white gold. Classic tonneau or tortue shaped case in white gold, applied Breguet numerals that go with the Breguet hands, subtly sunken registers for calendrical indications. At 3 o'clock, you have the month that surrounds a leap year indicator as well. At 9 o'clock, you have the day of the week with a 24-hour hand, which serves as your day-night indicator. At 3 o'clock, you have a downward-facing crescent as an opening onto the moon phase indicator that is encircled by a pointer date. As you can see, at lot 8070, you get the piece with the full set of its original accessories that includes anything but the kitchen sink, the pin pusher, the additional solid case back, the certificate of origin, the product literature, the leather folio to hold the documents, the winding box, the fitted presentation box, the outer packaging, they're all there. The piece is paired with a déployant clasp in matching material in 18 karat white gold that bears the Calatrava cross. Here's the beautiful micro-rotor movement that comes from the lineage of caliber 240. with a solid 22 carat oscillating weight, and which also bears the hallmark of Geneva on its bridge. This is the Patek Philippe Perpetual Calendar with a classic tonneau or tortue-shaped case in white gold with indication for moon phases, leap years, a very classic and distinguished look with Breguet numerals and Breguet hands. This is the 5040G-018 at lots 8070. The piece is currently being bid at 200,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is roughly 25,750. All right. Well, that was it for today. I will be back tomorrow with more watches, with more watch talk, and hopefully the rest of the watches from the Hong Kong sessions, from this Phillips online auction that still has a couple of days to go on the clock. So much more to go. Ozzy, nice to see you in the chat. He reminds everyone to upvote. That matters a lot. Please leave a comment after the live stream ends as well. If you want to support the channel, I outline a few different ways in the video description. Of course, you can use the ways YouTube provides you as well. Follow me on Instagram at young.brando. YouTube is at youngbrando. Share these links as generously as possible with other collectors. Help me expand the community on Instagram and on YouTube. Stay subscribed here. I try to provide you with as much content and quality content as possible. So if you can support that, I appreciate it. But spreading the word and helping me attract more people to our community that is purely built around our shared passion for and knowledge of wristwatches, that goes a long way. So share the link. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear and enjoy your watches. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.